Mr. Speaker, thank you. It's a pleasure to rise and speak in this debate, and I was not sure how to start my speech until Mr. Williams gave us an autobiographical account of life as a mayor of North Shore. He said, "Spray and walk away." Spray and walk away, and those were the days when he was there as a mayor. He also mentioned to us that he had been talking to some of his constituents. Well, here's a little wake-up call, Mr. Williams. You don't have constituents. You're a list MP. It's Maggie Barry that won in that seat. She has a constituent. Maggie Barry's told me she's got 20,000 votes, and you got 1,000 votes in that election. I didn't realise there were 1,000 people in that electorate who had lemon trees, but spray and walk away was the theme of that last speech. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important debate today because this was an excellent budget for New Zealand, an excellent budget for New Zealanders, delivered by an excellent Prime Minister, John Key, and our hard-working Minister of Finance, Bill English. The government has an economic plan. New Zealanders knew about it, they voted for it, and we are now delivering on it. Earlier in the debate, David Parker spoke about his concerns about direction, and he told us a bit about his vision for New Zealand. Well, that was economic policy by David Parker of Athens. Athens in Greece, of course, not Epsom, where he also stood. Another colleague in the House who got so many more votes. In fact, I think more Labour Party voters voted for my colleague from Epsom than the Labour Party candidate of the time. Can I say that, Mr. Speaker, our budget is about reducing debt and investing in New Zealand and New Zealanders, about working hard to get back to a surplus by 2014, 2015. Less borrowing, less wasteful spending, greater investment in New Zealand assets. We'll grow them over the next 4 years to $267 billion worth of assets, important assets for New Zealanders: schools, hospitals, roads, infrastructure, things that make us more productive and get ahead. Focus on what people can do, not what they can't do. I was reading a story to my young daughter the other day, and it was about the little engine who kept saying, "I think I can, I think I can." Well, the little red engine on the other side is the engine of can't. The opposition, the Labour Party, that says New Zealanders can't do anything, nothing is right, we shouldn't do anything at all, can't. And of course, reforming the welfare system, getting back to helping New Zealanders, supporting them back into doing the things that they can do, not merely focusing on what they can't do. And as Speaker said earlier in the debate, this isn't about taking people on the unemployment benefit and moving them to a sickness benefit or an invalid's benefit, which happened over 9 long years of a Labour government. This is about supporting New Zealanders, helping them get the skills they need to be productive in our society, and telling them that this government has their back, and we know and believe that they can do more. And in law and order, making New Zealanders safer. Making New Zealanders safer, Mr. Speaker, something that's been important to this government over the last 3.5 years, recognising the rights of the victim, not of the criminal, putting the victim first, supporting our communities, supporting the police, making New Zealand a safer place, and the statistics are showing this and proving it. And finally, focusing on productivity and growth. We are a trading nation, productivity and growth. The more productive we are, the more competitive we are. When we export our goods overseas, we will earn more for them. That's better for our country. Businesses will invest in their own businesses. They will employ more. This is about supporting New Zealanders and New Zealand businesses, not governments employing, governments taking money off others, recycling it, putting it back into the economy, and growing a system of dependency. Now, Mr. Speaker, we, over the last 3.5 years, the national government have taken a moderate and balanced approach to managing the government's finances. I want to recognise that this 3.5 years has been extremely difficult for many New Zealanders, as it has for many countries around the world. And this has been part of a much wider economic program to put the economy on a sound footing. We've constantly reprioritised spending, and what we've done, Mr. Speaker, is made sure that when we spend taxpayers' money, that they deserve a return for it. So we haven't just said in the area of health, and Minister Tony Ryle, who's worked effectively and hard over 3.5 years, here's a lot more money. Go and see what you can do with it. We've said the taxpayer deserves more for that, more bang for that buck, more operations for the money you have. Now, the great news is that Mr. Ryle has increased spending in health, but productivity in health has increased dramatically. And in the Lakes DHB area in my electorate, last year and the year before, and again this year, more elective surgery operations than any year ever before, with almost the same amount of money. That comes to the hard work of doctors and of nurses and of experts, and they're backed up by Tony Ryle. They know Tony Ryle supports him, something they didn't know of the last minister over the last 9 years of a Labor government. We've also said Mr Speaker, that for the past 3.5 years the government has provided responsible economic management in a time when New Zealand very much needed it. Now, I want to, for a moment, talk about a fantastic announcement by our Prime Minister, John Key, this week. And he said, for New Zealanders, we will set 10 targets to challenge our public sector over the next 5 years. Now, I'm going to read out what those 10 targets are, because already there's a cacophony of people that should be finding something more productive to do on the other side of the House who are naysayers. As I said earlier, it's the party of can't. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do these other things. All they're about is being can'ts, and I don't think that's what New Zealanders want. I received a text this week, Mr Speaker, 5-year public service targets. It said, "Dear Todd, congratulations on the Prime Minister's announcements. Not sure if I've missed these before. Perhaps this is the first time I've seen a government come out with clear, well-defined 5-year targets. It would be good to see these targets. Would have been good to see these targets done earlier. Well done. It's so important for the general public to see where, as a country, we are heading with concise targets such as these. Have a great day." Not a Labour Party supporter, that's right, not a Labour Party member of Parliament, because that email's all about what we can do, not what we can't do. The little red engine that thought they could, but actually they couldn't, Mr Speaker, they can't. So what did the Prime Minister say? He set 10 clear targets for what it is we must do in New Zealand. Reducing long-term welfare dependency. Reducing the number of people receiving the new job seeker support for more than 12 months by 30%, from 78,000 to 55,000 by 2017. What an admirable target, and on this side of the House we'll work hard to make sure that we achieve that. And why will we do that, Mr Speaker? I firmly believe that when people are in work, they and their families are better off, and we want to back New Zealanders to help them do the things they can do, not tell them what they can't do. Supporting vulnerable children. What did we hear from one of the members opposite yesterday? These targets aren't important. Meaningless. Meaningless. Well, you know what happened the 26th of November last year, Mr Speaker? New Zealand public told us what was meaningless. That was a party that got the lowest vote ever under MMP. That's what meaningless was. Supporting vulnerable children will ensure that 98% of children starting school have participated in early childhood education by 2016. Fantastic. Not only have we put much more money into early childhood education, we're going to make sure that those who are least advantaged, the most disadvantaged, are helped to get their kids to ECE so that they can get on the road to better education and better achievement. We're going to increase infant immunisation rates to 95% of 8-month-olds. Fantastic idea. Well done, Tony Ryle. I know that we can do this. We'll reduce the incidence of rheumatic fever by 2/3 by 2017. This is a disease that should not be in New Zealand. We all in this House need to join hands to find ways to support that and to change it. And we'll halt the 10-year rise in children experiencing physical abuse and reduce the number of children experiencing substantial physical abuse by more than 1,000 on projected numbers by 2017. Actually, wouldn't it be great if we could join together and find a way to do that? And Minister Paula Bennett is focused on making sure the lives of our young people are better and that they are better protected. Boosting skills and employment, we're going to focus on young people, 85% of them getting NCEA level 2, very important for us. Reducing crime. On the opposite side of the House, they say it's not happening. We'll look at the statistics, get out and talk to people, talk to some of Maggie Barry's constituents. You'll see that New Zealanders are feeling safer, but we have a long way to go here because we want to put the New Zealand public first, the criminal second. Mr Speaker, some other changes around businesses so that they can have a one-stop shop in dealing with government, and for New Zealanders to be able to complete many more of their transactions with government in a digital environment. I say to you, Mr Speaker, this is a budget for the people. We are a government for the people. We have a Prime Minister of the people, and I think that this is a wonderful thing that we're doing here today, and I commend this to the House.
I call the Honourable